Today I'm bringing another PSA Graded return featuring some Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and we're going to be discussing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh because it's blown up again, you know. For someone who's been pushing Yu-Gi-Oh for the past, like, several years now, it's cool to see Yu-Gi-Oh's popping up, but I'm hoping it's not for the wrong reasons. You know, unfortunately, the thing that sucks about being a collector is sometimes people are only driven by value, which, again, it is what it is. It's not the worst. I think it's cool when you see a card go up in value, especially when it's you own forever, and especially if it's one of your favorite cards in your collection. But at the same time, I've never been the biggest fan of that being the major focus. I hate the word investment when it gets thrown around with cards, but it is what it is. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this. This is going to be an all Yu-Gi-Oh submission. There's some resubs as well, and hopefully we got the grades that these cards finally deserve. Again, for context, the reason why I like to regrade sometimes is, I'm gonna be honest, I do think sometimes PSA 9 and PSA 10s are bullshit. Sometimes the reason why they give a card a 9 as opposed to 10, and even vice versa, sometimes it is bullshit. You know, you look at a card, you're like, how is this not a 10? Or you'll get 10 back, you're like, how is this a 10? You know, it's like, what happened, PSA? And I'm still convinced that sometimes you have the bias factor where, you know, if you have like a Charizard or like a iconic card like Blue Eyes White Dragon, Dark Magician Girl, if they see that card have that name, they're gonna automatically be like, yep, -5 points just because of the name alone. Anyways, something else to point out, a lot of these cards are not cards that people are normally grading. As always, I do like to point out that grade the cards that you like. You know, for me, the reason why I like to grade a lot of Modern is because I play the cards, or I think the design's cool, or I think the lore is cool. So it's never been about the value. You know, a lot of these cards are like $5, $10, $20 cards. You know, there's some expensive ones as well, but I just want to slab because I think they're cool. That said, first one, we have, Fleur de Lis, the Thunderbolt. This is a regrade from a 9 last time, but it did not deserve the 9. That's what I'm talking about. That's the grade it deserves. Bro, I have a theory. So the reason why I got 9 last time, my theory, because the card looks flawless in the back, is because I submitted with a bunch of Pokemon cards, and I feel like whoever graded those Pokemon cards was like, yeah, no, give it a 9, bro. I don't know what this is. This is it's Pop 1 as I expected. This is like a $50, $60 card. It's actually very, very cool, very playable. And I love the art. This is one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh arts released from like modern Yu-Gi-Oh. One of a handful, I would say, amongst my favorites, because I always loved Fleur de Lis's card. Prior to this, Fleur de Lis was, you only saw her in armor, and she did a lot of cool stuff. But the whole branded lore, I love everything about it. And you're gonna see some more branded cards in here as well. But again, just because Pop 1 does not make this like a $1 billion card, and something that I hate is my biggest pet peeve. Whenever I see a card that I want on eBay pop up, I will see it be listed. For example, I saw a card that I play. It was listed for $1,000. So I messaged the guy. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just tell you right now, I will offer you $500. And the only reason I'll offer you $500 is because this card currently is $150. If I have to find myself a 10 of this, I might need like 1 or 2 copies that are really clean to, you know, have the best chance, and then pay the grading fees, more money, and then time. So I'm gonna go ahead and just say I will give you $500 for this card. You have it listed for $1,000. They responded back and they said, it's gotta be $1,000 because it's Pop 5. It's Pop 5 because we play it. We play it. The average person isn't doing what I'm doing. Most people, if they have this card, they put it in a binder and that's it. You know, they put it in their decks. No one's going the extra step in grading because they don't care. If it's not vintage Yu-Gi-Oh, they don't care. So the guy goes, yeah, I'm declining. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I actually subbed the card myself, got it graded myself, and came back at 10. And what's funny is I saw the card pop up again a couple of, like a month later after I got mine. And I saw that they put the price down to like $300 and still no one was buying it. With Yu-Gi-Oh! And Modern, you gotta keep in mind that most people are playing these cards. The reason why the value of a card is high for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is because it's in demand. Every deck wants it, every player wants it, and they want it in max rarity. And sometimes there is also the scarcity factor. For example, you'll see some in here as well, but I have like an alt art right here, Main with the Eyes of Blue. This is incredibly hard to pull. This is one of last quarter century rares. And essentially, if you bought enough Blue Eyes White Dragon structure decks, you had a chance of the final card, the extra card in there, being a quarter century rare, which consisted of Maiden of White, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, and I believe, what was the last one? There was one more card in there as well. Oh, Wishes with the Eye of Blue. You had a chance of those being those QCRs, but they're really hard to pull. I went to locals when that came out. I bought like 30 boxes and didn't pull a single QCR in that box. This is an $80 card. Can you guess how much I paid for this PSA 10? $80. Because again, no one's buying modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Slab. Only reason why I wanted it is because again, I have a Blue Eyes deck and I love way Blue Eyes plays. And then with this is a Starlight. Technically, it's like 1 per 3 in a case, and the case is 12 boxes. And I think there was like 20 something Starlights you can get. So it's not exactly the easiest to pull, but it's also not hard to pull. So it's like, it's a $50 card, it's so unplayable. So no one's really grading this except for me, or maybe potentially, you know, fans of Brandon might just also want it, but they probably put it in their binder and stuff. Next, we have, oh yeah, speaking of which, this is the structure deck version of this card, but the original form. And we got a 9. To explain what I mean by original form, this is Fleur-de-Lis in the beginning of her anime. And I say anime because they actually have the chronicles you can watch for the first part of the story on YouTube right now, which is really, really dope. You should go check it out. But essentially, this is what Fleur-de-Lis looks like in the beginning, and this is her towards the middle of the story when she realizes the Dogmatica nation, who she's fighting to protect, ain't shit. They ain't shit. But yeah, again, as mentioned with, you know, Maid of White over here, this was really hard to pull. It's not a QCR, it's just a Starlight because they're not doing QCRs anymore. QCRs, not to be confused with Starlights, have the stamp. This is basically celebrating 25 years of Yu-Gi-Oh! But now we're going back to Starlights, which is originally what the max rarity now looks like. But yeah, this is cool. I do want to get a 10 of this. I do think this can be a 10. Maybe they saw something that I didn't, but we'll resub this and see what happens. Let me not check the grade on that yet because I have 2 of these. They're both 9s. All right. Now, if I remember correctly, yeah, okay. So one was not the best condition, but I always have a tinfoil hat theory that if you send 2 of the same card, sometimes they'll give you a better grade. And this one, the only flaw that you really had was has a dinged corner, like a little small white dot in the top corner right there. But I also have seen a lot of 10s in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like the corner's messed up. What happened here? I believe these are probably pop 4 for the 9s. Can you guess who graded the first 2 9s? This guy. Pop 4. Pop 4 for the 9s and pop 0 for 10. Again, it's kind of surprising me that these alt arts, which are a lot harder, aren't being graded. Again, I know a lot of people aren't grading modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but like, oh, cool. Again, the reason why I like to grade is because I just think it's cool to encapsulate some of your favorite cards, and then you get to see how many 10s exist. Shows you like the rare factor. It's like, it's essentially like a serialized version of a card. Like, oh, this is 1 of 10. This is 1 of 100, or in Pokemon's case, 1 of 20,000 nowadays. Not to knock Pokemon, but some of those modern cards in PSA 10s are crazy. Morgana. Ooh, this is gonna be another history lesson. Yeah, that's 100% a 10. You wanna know why this is a 10? Because it doesn't say Dark Magician Girl. Morgana is a card that only came out in this rarity in Asian English and also on the Japanese side. When we got this card in the TCG, it was just a super rare. And I like this card because it goes with the Sinful Spoils lore. This is actually who Diabellus kills and steals our power. I know, we're getting real dorky with it right now. But to show you what Asian English means, the back has the OCG logo, and then we got the TCG logo, which means this card is actually not legal in the TCG side, even though it is in English. But again, we never got this in max rarity, so wanted to pick it up because I got it for cheap. It was like 50 bucks, I think, when it first came out. And the Asian English cards tend to be a lot more expensive because they're more rare and also printed way less. So again, a little scarcity factor. You want to have one of only a few. That's why I like Asian English cards. Pop 1. Not surprised. Also, like, look at the difference of the Starlight Shine on the OCG versus us. Like, these cards are shiny. Put you on top because Fleur-de-Lis is cool. All right, next we got lovely Labyrinth. Actually, I tried to win this on eBay a couple of 2 months ago, and I lost. And I opened up my binder and I realized, oh wait, I pulled this. Let me grade my own. And you know what? I'm glad I did that because even though it was like only like $150, which I think was still pretty high for a modern Yu-Gi-Oh card, it's better to grade one that you pull because that has your aura in it. What are we at? I think this one is more of a popular card, so there's probably way more 10s of this than normal. 11. I mean, 11's still pretty low. The cool thing about Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like, you know, in Pokemon, everybody is grading every hit that comes out, and the pops end up being insane. Like the Lugia from Silver Tempest is like pop like 20,000 or something like that in PSA 10. I have a BGS 10 and I have a ARS 10 as well, which I believe in ARS 10 this is a pop 1, maybe 2. And then in PSA it's a pop a lot. But it's funny because the same equivalent for modern Yu-Gi-Oh ends up being pop 11. So you might not recognize this character because this is a new character. It came out a couple years ago from the Labyrinth archetype. And this, to some people, is equivalent to Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. I just think Lovely Labyrinth is a cool character because she's just a badass. I hate playing against her deck for sure, but I think her design is actually pretty sick. Next, we got, speaking of women of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Lady Dragonmaid. So I actually bought this for the purpose of putting it in a deck, and that's why I graded it. I got this, I'm like, this looks really, really clean. She's not the biggest and most important character of the Dragonmaid. Well, actually, she is technically the most important card of the Dragonmaid archetype, the theme. But I think her design is cool. I just love Dragonmaids. Shout out to Miss Kobayashi's Dragonmaids. All those cards are cool. This is probably a pop one as well. No one's grading these. They're all playing it. And this is the most important card in the deck. It is pop 3, actually. Wow, it's shocking. So someone probably had the same, or probably Ruxin. Somebody had the same thought process as me. It was like, oh, cool character. I want to grade it. Next. It's looking like it's a great return so far. This is my personal SP Little Knight. I bought a PSA 10. Let's talk about this card. This was the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card for a while on the player side. I'm not talking about, like, you know, OG vintage. For a while, because quarter century rare is a max rarity for this. This card, I think I bought my copy original for like $600 to put in the deck. I was like, I'm gonna bite the bullet. I want this card. This is before it got a reprint, where now the reprint's like in Secret Rare and also in Starlight form, where those cards are like $1 basically. The Starlight is like $10. I mean, I don't know how it got 10 because I played this card, but I guess I'm very, very careful with my cards. I double sleeve my cards. So this card for a while was like $600, 500, $600, because everybody had to play it. It was so powerful. And I mean, you could have played the Secret Rare version, but like there's something about, you know, playing max rarity cards that just hits different. You know, I like shiny cardboard. And I bought a PSA 10 while this card was $600. And the PSA 10, I think I paid like $900 for, which is insane. For modern Yu-Gi-Oh, that's ridiculous. But then when this card reprinted, the card died. I think now if you buy a quarter century version of this card, it's like $300, which is still pretty high. But the Starlight version is $10, which is basically the same rarity, except for it doesn't have the stamp. And I bet you if this card popped up on eBay today in QCR, it'll probably sell for like $300, just because, again, the only reason why it was so expensive to begin with is because the raw copies were so high. And when you add like grading fees and like the premium of being PSA 10, it's $900 kind of made sense. And then the card died. Something that's very important to educate people on Yu-Gi-Oh! A card isn't popular, or a card isn't expensive in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it looks cool. I mean, it can be sometimes. A card is popular in Yu-Gi-Oh! For one or two reasons. Either one, it's next to impossible to pull, like Dragon Master Magia. It specifically was like, what do you call the word? It's like a scarcity that was just added for the sake of having scarcity. Whereas cards like SP Little Knight was in everyone's deck. You pulled it, people will pay premium money to get that shiny version added to their deck. So when a card goes down, it's not because, oh, it's crashing. It's because they finally made it more accessible to people, and people don't care about, like the average Yu-Gi-Oh player doesn't care about having max rarity. They'll even play super rare if possible. But yeah, again, for me, I really like SP Little Knight. I think she's dope. And having this technically being the max rarity version of this card hits. And this being mine is also sick, but I'm just mad that I bought a PSA 10 of this, you know, a couple of months ago, because it's like I should just grade on my own. But yeah, hey, I mean, really goes to show you that I take care of my cards, and this being the card that saved my ass in my own deck for like the past, what, 2 years now? 2+ years? It's different. That's kind of cool that I got 10 on that. Next. This card finally got a PSA 10 a couple weeks ago, and actually I was talking to the owner of it on Twitter, because I posted about it and they happened to find my tweet. And so OTS cards, let me show you, I actually have one next to me over here. OTS cards from the same one, actually. If you open 100 packs, you'll get 3 ultimate rares. And in this case, the ultimate rares of this set was Blue Eyes White Dragon in the starter deck Kaiba art, and Sylvia, which I just won this on eBay for $160 the other day. As somebody who, my main deck right now is White Force Azamina, and this card is important. Ultimate rares are very, very hard to get in PSA 10s. What is that? Freaking dirt over here. What is that? It's bothering me. Ultimate rares are really, really hard to get in PSA 10 because I have a theory that a lot of times people in PSA, the graders, you see that indent? They'll think that that's actually a crease, but it's not, because when they make the texture for these cards, they like stamp it down. They all have that. You can see over here, they have it as well. I have a theory that if this card does not get a 10, well, it's actually clean, because the other thing that sucks about these cards is usually always the corner and also the centering. The one that I pulled looked great, but the centering was some buns. This is the one I bought in Japan. I sought this out basically myself. I have a theory that the reason why this got a 8 is because everything else is perfect, but then they saw that in that and were like, yeah, that's a crease. It's not a crease, bro. It's not a crease. This is a pop 1 right now. Might be pop 2. I think it might be pop 2. I think the second one just popped up as well. But I will say this. This honestly looks, this one is more, not to be biased, this is more cleaner than the PSA 10 that I saw. So I'm gonna try that one again. And again, this is the other card available within the OP28 set. Another one of my favorites. And again, I love Ultimate Rares in Yu-Gi-Oh! What you gotta look for the most for damage-wise is the chipping on, because again, the Ultimate Rare texture is like very easy to chip. And then messed up corners. The corners are always just super screwed up. If the corners are good and the centering is fantastic, it should be a 10 as long as your grader doesn't think that this is damage. It's not. Literally, that's just the blue eyes, bro. It's not. It's literally just the blue. It's the neck, bro. I'm mad it's got an 8 because I saw Blue Eyes White Dragon's neck on the back of the card. Anyways, we'll try that one again. I think that one definitely has chance to be a PSA 10. It's one of the cleanest one that I've seen. Okay, I got the other copy that's a lot cleaner. So if this got an 8, this one definitely got a 10, right? Ooh. Oh my God. Okay, well, I guess this is the better copy. Okay, to show you this again, this is a card that came out in 2001 as part of the Dungeon Dice set. If you got the seal box, you got 3 copies of Dark Magician Girl inside of different arts, and they had different rarities. They had Ultra Rare, Ultimate Rare, and Secret Rare. Secret Rares were the ones that grade the easiest because it's prismatic and it was like very high quality for some reason. What always hurt the most on these cards were the corners are super messed up. You see that whitening right there? This is all over these cards. All over. That's why this got a 8.5 on the edges for this. But yeah, they were always terrible. Which means if you get Ultimate Rares, which got the same problems as Ultimate Rares normally do, now you have chipping also introduced. But honestly, these were super clean. So I'm curious to know why this got a 6. Now, normally if you got a 6, it means that there's a crease or dent somewhere. But also, I want to point out this is a Ultimate Rare card, which means it was stamped the same way that they normally do. That's how they get the texture. So again, I wonder if the same reason why they got an 8 for this got a 6 and this got an 8. This should have been a 10. Because this one doesn't have the issues other than, I guess, someone's awesome. Yeah, like PSA, bro. Can we get better quality control? Why is there a piece of like lint or something in my card? But look how clean those edges are. It is next to impossible to find edges like that for these Ultimate Rare variants of this card. But I found 2 very clean copies when I was in Japan this last time. And I guess PSA thought it was 6. I'll try again for both of these. The only thing that makes you nervous is this is definitely the newer case. If I crack this out, this is going to crack easily. These are like... It's like a bendy plastic, so it's like I gotta do actual surgery to get these out. So I'm worried that there's a good chance I might destroy these in the process, and I hope that doesn't happen. But I hate that they always put these specifically in this case, because every time I crack it out, I'm like, this is bending. It shouldn't bend. We'll try again, because I'm almost positive that's what happened. Is these definitely did not get the proper grader to actually, you know, grade it. And then this one might either just have a crease somewhere, or they saw the yeah, like you can kind of see like where the card was stamped. Interesting. Okay. Cool. My favorite thing about being also a grader and grading cards is the journey of hunting a card. Because again, I like to go to Japan a lot to find specific cards. You know, that's how I got my black label, not my black label, my BGS 10 version of this card. You know, I sought it out in Japan, and now I want to get the Ultra Rare version of that card as well. And it's really fun to finally get that card. You know what looks good, and you submit it, and now all of a sudden, you're the grader is like, yep. Good to me. Yeah. Wait. Did I? Oh, I grabbed this. I was like, what did I? Where is this? 5 mana. This is gonna be. I'm actually very excited about this one. This is the newest Dragonmaid. It's called Draco Tail, and love the design of 5 mana. She's a badass. Like this entire deck is insane. This deck was running crazy at YCS 300 this past week, absolutely just destroying everybody. I ended up not winning. What ended up winning was, I believe it was Yummy. Sounds goofy to say. It was Radiant Typhoon Yummy, which is like the new archetype mixed with Yummy, which Yummy was already powerful to begin with. This though, it's gonna be like a pop 1, I want to say. Yeah, again, pop 1 because we're busy playing it. This is like a $60 card in max rarity in Starlight, and we're busy playing this, so no one's grading it. But again, I like to grade all my decks. I got that deck literally right over here. I haven't updated yet because it got hit on the ban list recently, but as you can see, I got this card over here. I like to grade all of my favorite decks that I play, just because again, I'm also a collector at the end of the day. I play the game, but I'm always gonna be a collector first. So I'm excited that I picked this up in Japan. I'm excited that I got a clean copy of this. Dope, dope, dope. Where is? Oh, right here. I was like, where is the card I was looking for? Okay. Next, we got. Ooh. So this actually I picked up recently. I think I got this for like 80 bucks because again, no one's grading this. The max rarity of this technically will be this. Well, technically, the Starlight version of this, which came out years ago, is the highest rarity you can get. This did get a quarter century rare reprint as well, which this makes it like a $10 card because it's a bit more common. But again, with me, this, woo, and we got the 10 on that. This is technically the rarest version of it because this comes from the structure deck where, you know, it's supposed to be, I believe, secret rare, with the chance of being Starlight. So you have to buy a lot of these structure deck boxes for like $10, $20, $10, $15, $20. And then if you happen to get a Starlight, is it going to be this? Is it going to be Fallen or Virtuous? Is it going to be, you know, one of the other 5 cards available in the set? And what's funny is a lot of people thought that this is actually the art that they just screenshotted from the Chronicles anime. It's not. It's redrawn. Same thing with this. This is a big shot that we see in the beginning. I want to say this happens in the beginning. And then this is also from like episode 1. But it's not a screenshot. They literally redrew this based off that scene in the anime, which is dope. This has got to be a pop 1 100%. Again, no one was grading these. Last time I checked, it had 0 PSA 10s. Has 1 PSA 9, which was this previously. Pop 1. Yep. So, yeah, again, when I originally sent this batch in with my Pokemon cards, they all came back as 9s. I'm like, what happened today? Like, bro, sometimes these graders be on one. I am surprised that no one's really grading these alt arts like that, especially in the higher rarity, especially with how popular brand it is. Because, like, you know, with cards like Sky Striker, Ray, for example, or Ecclesia, or, you know, Fleur de Lis, some of these cards literally are the Bellstar. They're like today's version of Dark Magician Gold, Blue Eyes White Dragon to a lot of people that are playing the game today. So I'm surprised that not more people are into grading Yu-Gi-Oh! But at the same time, I guess it's not the biggest focus. Again, we play the game more than we grade. But for me, it's a mix of both. All right, last card. We got, oh. Come on, bro. My bad, PSA. I made a mistake of sending you a card that said Dark Magician Girl. If it said, you know, anything else, it probably would have been a 10. If it said Morgana, it would have definitely been a 10, I'd say. But no. I guess because it says Dark Magician Girl, it's not a 10. Now, not to be confused with Starlight. This is a quarter century rare. This is actually one of the last quarter century rares released before they went back to doing Starlights only. So this, as I mentioned, Asian English are a lot more harder to get. This card got censored to hell here in the TCG release. They basically moved up her button and they took out the star. But again, Asian English are a lot harder to get. And on top of that, this being one of the most iconic Asian English cards that came out in the last couple of years, this is going to be probably one of the most sought after cards later. I mean, it's Dark Magician Girl, but its card is insane. This card is so good. It's so playable nowadays. But again, it's the centering. The centering from top to bottom. But again, the printing quality for Asian English and OCG cards in general is so much better, so much cleaner. That's why you tend to see less damage. Every now and then you might see one that has like a ding in the corner. I sought this one out myself specifically through all the ones that were available since release of like last year in April. Like I found the perfect one, and honestly, this should be a 10. But the only thing that I'm holding it back is that centering, because you can see that centering top to bottom is not the best. But everything else is good. There's no print lines, there's no corner damage, there's no edge wear. I gotta get a PSA graded that doesn't have a broom up their ass because the card is slightly off center. Centering is like the worst aspect to grading cards. I said what I said. Centering is not damage. I always say that. Centering is just how the card is printed. Centering is super crazy. Sure, you can say it can't be a 10. But most of the time, when you see a card like this, it's like, bro, this is not even off center. Like, this looks good. What are you talking about? We'll try it again. Hopefully, we get a proper grade that actually knows Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, let me know your thoughts on grading Yu-Gi-Oh! I know a lot of people are on Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. Vintage cards have been going like crazy. But I always say, buy the cards that bring you happiness. Buy the cards that, trigger those brain chemistries to, like, do what they do that fills you with happiness. That's just how it's always been. And at the end of the day, it's not about the value. It's about grading something cool. Grading one of a few is just dope to own. my opinion. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on everything discussed, and hopefully the next time we see some of these cards in this side, they'll be the grades that they deserve. If not, well, I guess I got a journey to find the best possible cards, best possible version for these cards in the future. I'll see you guys in the next upload.